Welcome to Secrets of Stand-Up Comedy. I'm Richard Francis Williams, and I'm going to tell you everything I know about stand-up so you can be a better comedian. I want to talk about dealing with success, especially in your local scene. There's going to be a time, hopefully sooner rather than later, where you're going to start getting some success. And it may be more than you anticipate, and certainly more than any of your fellow comics anticipate. You're going to be blindsided if you don't pay attention to this, because it can get kind of ugly. Have you ever heard the expression crabs in a bucket? So the crabs in a bucket theory is if you go crabbing, you have to bring a lid for the bucket. You catch them and you put the crab in a bucket. And if you have one crab, you put the lid on it because he'll try to get out. You get two crabs. I think you still have to put the lid on it. I always mix these things up. But if you get three crabs, you don't have to put the lid on the bucket anymore to keep the crabs in there. Because the one crab that's trying to get out, the other two will try to pull it back down. That's what crabs in a bucket is all about. If you suddenly start emceeing at your local club, or you start featuring, or you headline, or if you're in a different level, if you get the Montreal Comedy Festival and you do New Faces, or you get a TV show, or a commercial, whatever it is, there's going to be a lot of hard feelings from people you started off with, or people that are on your level. It's human nature. Not everybody's going to be happy for you. It's, excuse me. I know it's weird, but I've been on both sides of it. I didn't get that much negative reaction to mine because when I got to LA, I was already established on the road, and I went the writing route. So it was different than the goal of a lot of comics out there. And it took me a while to get the Aspen Comedy Festival and then Premium Blend. And also, when I got hired my first writing job, I was always getting comics booked on the show for sketches. Willie, can you eat that in the other room, please? Go on the sofas. We're talking about jealousy. And Bingo doesn't want to watch you eating your chewy. So I avoided some of that, but I remember, and I talked about this before, there were a couple comics that emceed for me when I was on the road. I was just the feature, but they were the MCs, and they got the Montreal Comedy Festival, and I was really pissed. And I loved the guys. They were great guys. But I was like, they don't deserve it. They're not that funny. They don't have enough material. I was pouring all this energy into evaluating what was wrong with their acts and where they were at in their career. I felt like they were undeserving. I'm embarrassed by it now. It's something that comics love to do. They love to go, well, why is he getting this? He's not funny. He's a hack. And it's because they didn't get it themselves. So that will happen to you. You may not hear about it, but they'll be talking behind your back. Just know that it's human nature. Show a bit of grace. Be a good winner around poor losers. You know what I mean. They're not losers. They think of themselves as losing out on this opportunity that they weren't right for whatever reason. It happens a lot in local scenes. That's why I always try to encourage comics to support each other, because you have to work against human nature. This particular thing seems to be really prevalent in anybody creative, anybody in the performing arts. And if you think about comics, we want attention and we want praise. Otherwise, why would we go on stage in front of a bunch of strangers to try to get them to laugh? I mean, we're driven by attention. We're attention seekers. Same with artists and musicians and, you know, all those types. Willie, you're really messing up this video. And I already feel like my breathing's weird. I have people complaining that I don't get to the point quick enough, that I should index these videos with chapters. But I don't care. So how do you deal with it? What are some of the things that could happen? You could have your friends who you think you're super tight with in the comedy community. You catch wind of them talking shit. How do you deal with it? I think at first you let it go. And if it's very egregious, you deal with them one-on-one. And then if it's too much, what you have to do is put your head down and focus on your career. There's some people you may have to leave behind because they just can't get out of their own way. They're too busy worried about your success instead of their own success. And that's one of the things when I was upset with those two comics getting all those opportunities. They got a big fancy manager at the time. I was frustrated because I was trying to figure out, well, how did they get this? If they don't have what I have in this category, and this category, what do I need to do? And a bigger part of it was it helped me avoid looking at what I actually needed to do with my career. I could just spend all my energy being upset with the fairness of the situation and the system instead of working on new killer material that would blow agents and bookers away. I could spend all my time at the Improv bar saying to any other comic who'd listen, can you believe these guys got this? I mean, it's crazy. How are they even going to handle it? Once I realized how destructive that was for me, I dropped it. Yeah, occasionally I'll see somebody and I'm like, I don't think they're ready. I don't compare myself to them anymore. I don't look at it as a zero-sum game where there's only one opportunity. They got it and I'm out. And I tend to root for them to be able to rise to the occasion. At least that's what I do publicly. I'm still kind of an asshole. I still want to see somebody who I don't think is particularly talented stumble a little bit. I don't want to see their career get ruined, but I don't know. I'm flawed like everyone else, but I don't partake in it. And it's never with somebody I know. It's always some outside comic that they're not even real to me. They're just an image on my TV. Do you know what I mean? It's not like somebody I was doing shows with or that type of stuff. But here's what you have to think about when you're in your scene. Willie, go lay down. 5 more minutes. He's being a bear tonight. When you start getting success and moved up, people are going to say, oh, he or she's a kiss ass to the club owner or the club booker or the manager or whatever. They might start rumors about you. Again, ignore it as much as you can. Have some grace. Realize, hey, they're going through a tough time. They haven't gotten where they want to be, and that's okay. But if it starts getting out of hand, stop doing favors for people. I was talking with one comic this evening, and he's doing a lot of stuff to help people, helping a lot of comics. And obviously I'm for that. I have this YouTube channel. But if somebody turns on you and you're not guilty of anything, if the other comics in your scene don't rally behind you, why would you continue to help them? I get it. We all want to be liked. We all want to be this part of this tribe. But sometimes there's going to be a situation where you have to remove yourself from it. And you have to just go for that gold ring. Because, I don't know, when I found out, because this happened to me locally, and it was so childish to me because there was no winning anything. I was already coming in, like, established way more than anybody in the area, just because of longevity, if nothing else, let alone credits. And, there was, it was almost, it seemed like we have to take out the top dog when I'm not even thinking about it like that. I'm like, I'm here to help people and all that. And the local comics, quite a few of them didn't say anything. They didn't stand up for me. And then it came out later that the person who was starting this screwed over a bunch of them. And I heard from a couple of those same comics who stood by quietly saying, yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that person did it to me and my friend too. I said, yeah, I don't, like, it's cool between us, but I didn't help them again. My help is not unconditional. You're not my child. You know what I mean? You're not my spouse. So there's going to be times where you have to just step back. If you address it on a wide scale, it's just going to add more fuel to it. Don't get involved in that stuff. Somebody asks you about it, just be like, I don't know. I'm too focused on my material. Somebody starts a rumor, like, even denying it sometimes is crazy. Because then the rumor mill is, oh, she denied it. Yep. That's what guilty people do. They deny it. Like, what kind of tortured logic is that? It's also what innocent people do. They deny it very loudly. But if it's something that jeopardizes your whole career, you have to go full force against them to protect your career, your reputation, your integrity, and all that. But I don't know. I used to be I still try to work things out one-on-one with people, but I can tell pretty quickly if somebody's being malicious. And that I don't tolerate. And it's just, they're cut out. I don't have any time for it. Life's too short. Your career's too short. There's only so many opportunities I was presented with. Only so many opportunities that I could create. And I'm not going to mess one of those up because somebody's jealous. Because I got something that they thought that they should have gotten, or they thought I wasn't ready for. I'll determine that. Just as those two comics determined it for themselves. It wasn't up to me. Who the fuck am I to say when they're ready to do just for laughs? That's why I say I'm ashamed about it. And I wasn't spreading rumors or stuff like that. I was just hating on them. I hate that term too. The haters. Ugh. So overused in our society. I don't mean for this video to be a downer, but just know that, like, people are gonna be upset by you succeeding. I was in a relationship once, and I got this gig, and we were both comics, and I could tell, we started having more problems between us. And I even brought it up once. I'm like, you weren't up for this. Like, we're not even in the same category. And it's all a touchy subject because you're dealing with people's dreams. And so they're going to have the claws out when it's something they've wished for since they were a little kid, since they were standing in the mirror with a brush, a hairbrush, like I am with this fake microphone, and telling their little jokes in the mirror. I always believe try to lift each other up. There's something great about being part of a scene where you put it on the map, your group. Because there's comedy scenes like Boston, San Francisco, obviously New York, and LA. But now there's one in Austin. And comics went there. Joe Rogan went there, and then a bunch of other comics followed him. They created a scene. That's like the new mecca for stand-up in America. What if you were able to do that in your city? That's what I love about the Connecticut comics. They really, and it's like a whole group of them. All they do is support each other. And I'm sure there's some behind the scenes stuff that goes on that I'm not aware of. But I see them sharing each other's flyers when they're not even on the show. Are you doing that in your scene? Like they're putting Connecticut on the map where people want to go. Comics want to go there and perform. They're creating it. What's the difference between Boston and Connecticut? Nothing. It's like, what is Los Angeles? It's just a bunch of buildings, streets and trees and hills and people. And there's opportunities there because the people said, we're going to move the studios here because we can film, because of the great weather. We could film year round. It doesn't rain that often. All right, bingo, I'm wrapping it up. I know. Do it in your town. If you're in Minneapolis, create a whole thing there. Oh, bingo. So to wrap up this little part, bingo hit the camera. I knew she was going to do it eventually, so I had to edit. Be prepared. This may be your best friend in comedy, but they may not celebrate with you. They may do it outwardly, but it's hard on them sometimes. Don't tolerate malicious behavior, but the best thing you can do is just to keep on climbing. Knock the lid off that bucket. Oh, it's so cheesy. I did the crabs in a bucket thing, and then I think, oh, knock the lid off the bucket. That'd be good. See, I let myself down. By the way, I'm going to I have a plan. I ordered a fuel pump online. So I'm going to fix that part on my own. This is the crazy thing. So I added this at the end. I'm doing this at the end so you can click off if you're not interested in my life. If you just want to squeeze me for my juice and then throw the pit and the skin away. Comics. You're all in it for yourselves. Excuse me. So I ordered a fuel pump on eBay. $94 free shipping. They were going to charge me $1,000 between parts and installation. So $94, and then I spent another $9 free shipping for another part, which I'll tell you what it is in a second. I watched a few videos. I realized I'm anticipating this transmission problem that there's not even a warning light on for. The problem that I have to deal with is the fuel pump. That's what's creating the sputtering, most likely. If I fix that, it delays having to deal with the transmission issue, and I can drive it. And then if the transmission goes, it goes. If I'm able to sell it once I get my credit repaired from the wrong reports on my credit report, then I could deal with all that stuff then. I'm watching these YouTube videos, and they're great because they tell you how to replace a fuel pump. They don't tell you for my specific vehicle, but Nissans are kind of all the same. I watch a couple of them. I'm like, oh, this is super easy. There's this one thing, you take the fuel pump out of the gas tank, and you just see the gas underneath. And it's like, you got to clean this. And to get this one part unhooked, the guy has a crowbar on the end of it, and he's tapping it with a hammer to move it. I watched a third one. So the first two, they were doing the same thing. The third one is from like a professional mechanic. They get to the part where you're supposed to put something to knock the casing off so you can spin it off. He says, and I always use a brass punch for this because the fuel is right there. And if you have a spark, it could ignite everything. I could have blown myself up. So I ordered a brass punch. I don't know why these other videos are allowed. I saw sparks in two of them. And not even thinking, oh, that could make the whole thing blow up. So be careful with these videos. But also, man, I'm saving a lot of money doing it this way if I'm able to pull it off. Maybe I'll drag in Gavin, can't say his full Christian name, on YouTube to help me. My friend Dan, I know he'll help me. So I want to do, it should come in this week, I think. It said before Valentine's Day, so who knows? But yeah, I haven't given up on my my transitioning back into stand-up. The booker of the local club, when I put up that post in our Facebook comedy group for this area, she wrote something underneath it yesterday saying, he's back. So it felt kind of nice. So I'll reach out to her when I feel I'm ready, and I'll start doing the funny bone again. It'll probably be a mixture of new and old. And yeah, I'll tell you about one of the ideas I have probably in tomorrow's video, because I want to, I'll just tell you now. So one of the things I want to do is, and I'll announce it in another video when I'm ready to do the open mic, I want you to come up with the premises so you can tell that I'm writing it that week, so that there's no chance that it was old material. Not that anybody questioned that before, but you'll be able to tell, well, how fast can you write this stuff? So I'll have you come up, and I'll tell you when. I don't want you to do it now because that gives me a head start. But we'll try to get 10 different premises together that are from the comments, and then we'll do that on like a Saturday or Sunday, and then I'll come up with 10 jokes based on that. And I don't want them to be all sex jokes and stuff like that. Or I could just do topical material, because that stuff changes every day. So that should be exciting. And you know what? We could all do that. And then everybody could post their results. Like if we came up with 10 premises and then everybody wrote on that for the week and then did an open mic, recorded themselves, and then posted links to it in the comments, I think that'd be fun. Because I'm not a crab in a bucket. I want to see you succeed. All right, I'll see you tomorrow.